We got blood in the neighbor's yard. That was it. All right, howdy folks, welcome back. My little timing was off there. All right, so howdy folks, like I said, welcome back. Let's get situated here. Whew, I told you I would be back. Here we are. December 13th, 2024, 121-324. And here is the loop. Let me get this started here. And while that's loading up, I'm going to take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your time to be a part of this family. Okay? It's a very special show that we do here. It's not your average YouTube live stream. As I try to get a little bit more dialed in here. All right. So your time is appreciated here. Okay. So I love you all and thank you, like I said, for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. When you stick around for the spiritual report at the end, you will indeed find out how precious this family is. Okay. With that said, let's get this show on the road. So here we got the loop playing already, and I'm gonna let that go for a couple of loops for those with eyes that see before I start pointing anything out. The main one's pretty obvious. If you look on both sides, you can see a dark patch, and you can see the plasma built up behind it as it moves on out there. So I'll let that play for just a second there while I make the last few adjustments here. I think that's probably the best we're gonna get right about there. And kill the music and playing still in the background. All right, so let's start marching through this. I'll grab the opening frame and we'll just go to town. We're gonna do it to it. All right, so as you notice, opening frame here 024 of 121324. Here we go. You note your spire region right here. That's where your activity's coming out of. There's a spire region here, something else coming out there. All right, and then up here. So got activity coming out of our little spire regions right there, where I tell you that the compass needle's pointing in the direction of another magnetic field. Now, as we continue on through, you can see very faintly in here, there's another round object right there, okay? And then this one, something squirting out up there. But as we kind of march through this here, forward march, we got this one that pops out. No mistaking that right there. Marcia, I love you, darling. I heard you thinking about me earlier. All right. Clearly obvious round spheroid object. Multiple. One here, one there, one here. Something going on over there. So just this big splayed out, spread out fashion of smaller little objects right there being dispersed. And then this event coming off this main spire region down at the bottom is, and you see there's more stuff squirting out over here, not squirting out, but brushing up against the magnetic field there, interacting with it. Now here we can see on the red side, let me back up a frame really quick here. Just a little bit there. Darken this. You can see on this red side over here your dark patch, okay, with plasma streaming around it. There's your black round spheroid object. And then you can see here, let me kind of move in a little closer and slide over to the red side. Can you see how these layers, or these we're kind of double stacked, triple stacked here. You can see how there's a little stacking of the magnetic field, little layers right there. One arch, and another one around the main one. Then when we slide over here, you can see it's kind of got this triple little, it's hard to see it, but little triple arch effect. And then there's your main object right there. So let me just back out of this. Now, I know it's going to seem far-fetched, but since we rotate around the sun and there's other planets in our solar system that rotate around our sun and interact with our sun, whatever, the possibility that we're the only one is kind of far-fetched. The chance that there's other objects that rotate around our sun that just haven't been detected or you've been told about does not mean this isn't happening. How do I say that? How do we phrase that? Kind of hard. Anyways, right here is a good shot. Your backside of your round object right here, plasma is streaming past it. It's not like really curling around it, so it's leaving the shadow type effect. But there's the backside of your black spheroid object with the plasma damming up behind it. And you can see it damming up. There's 1, 2, 3 little dams where it's been built up there. Almost like a triple layer sandwich as it moves on out of the screen there. Okay, let me try this. No. Sorry, bear with my my goofy technology here. Alright. At least I don't have to deal with the OBS stuff. Okay, note this big long, or there was a big long streak kind of coming out of there that was bent. And then another little objects coming out of there. All right, so let's go ahead and play that loop and let it play for a second there and see why things are so far back tonight. Everything seems like it's zoomed back. Oh, well. You just have to leave it there. So there's your activity on the around the sun today, okay? And we could go take a peek at yesterday since I didn't do a report last night, but there wasn't much activity. Just more of these little moons, more of these little satellites, whatever you want to call them. I call them satellites because it's an object that orbits a bigger object, okay? It's not like a man-made satellite or anything like that. I'm talking about other spheroids, moon-type structures that orbit a bigger central object. That would define satellite there, okay? So there's your activity right there. I know what's going on. Let me bring it back up. There we go. All right, now let's come on over here to Solar Ham, and let's take a dive into here. We try to monkey with this. Should take my ADHD meds. All right, here we go. So top off the story here, solar flux indice is at 164. We're in the yellow and we're up 3. Okay, so still kind of slowly climbing right there. Sunspot number is at 91, but we're down 23. You saw all those little moons and all those little satellites. Each one has like its own little magnetic field and causes a small roiling in the sun's corona, causing a sunspot. And when we see a bunch of those, interact and then leave the vicinity of the sun, well, we're down 23 sunspots, 23 objects probably. All right, area in the green. Coming over to this one's still out of commission for now, but what I want to point out is the location of 3917. Take note of this sunspot region right here because we're going to get into that here in just a minute. Okay. Now, as we scroll on down, let's zoom in really quick and see how fluxed we are. Goes X-ray flux, that is. Swimming pools and movie stars. All right. As you can see, that bumpy little ride there today, we had 5 M flares over the course of the last few days here. So quite a bumpy little ride, and we have activity going into the next day right here. We could take a peek at this if you'd like, but since you guys never want to, and come over here, refresh this, tough, we're gonna do it anyway. All right, let's just take a peek at what frames just came in lately here. Not too much activity, we pray, but you see these spire regions, and here comes something out of this little region down here. Sometimes we get a little bonus shot or something. All right, cool. Very minimal activity there. Good. So, as you can see, very minimal activity, just a couple little burps and farts. All right, here we go. Whoops, one more. My bad. All right, here we go. 3-day geomagnetic forecast, all clear for the next 3 days. That's good. Today was being the 13th, almost over Friday the 13th. So tomorrow the 14th is, well, a big day on the calendar, right? For a lot of people who are into this stuff. And we will see what goes on this day. Okay, now there's no geomagnetic thing forecasted, but you all remember what we looked at here on the 11th, right? I'm gonna have to pull it up. Not the well, let's just say it's kind of unsettling what happened here. All right, but this event here with the face and everything that's going on right there is coming out of this region straight at us. Okay, so we never got to see any kind of any kind of well the models showing what direction the CME is heading. And if this is what we see, it's probably heading this direction. So this being the 11th, taking the 3 days time period to get to Earth would hit on the 14th. So we might get an unexpected geomagnetic storm on the 14th. I'm praying I'm wrong because I don't want any more geomagnetic activity, all right? But from what I've seen there, we could see something maybe possibly on the 14th, all right? Otherwise, the 15th looking good. X-flare potential down to 5. That should be a little bit higher, okay? And I'll tell you why here in just a second. But M-flare 55. Here's some of our M-flare events today. A 6.7, a 2.2, and a 2.1. All right, so not too bad. Auroras are mild right now. KP's really low, so that's good. Hopefully we don't get an event on the 14th, but from what that thing is showing, where else would it be going? Now, let's get into 3917, beta gamma delta. There's your configuration right there for X-flare, all right? So I showed you the placement of it right here, okay? So it's still on the Earth-facing side of the sun. We could still possibly get an X-flare out of 3917, beta gamma delta, and growing, all right? Now, that's this region right over here, and we didn't see too much coming out of that region, so I don't think it's over yet. All right, so that was a different day, but I want to come over to the tracker. That's what I was trying to say, was the tracker here wasn't tracking the event from the 11th, all right, because I'm a little concerned about the 11th plus 3 days would be hitting on the 14th, the same day that Mike is talking about this spiritual event happening. And well, we'll get into what could possibly happen later on in the spiritual report. That's why it's worth sticking around sometimes. But not showing anything on the tracker. Kind of looked like we had something coming our way. Hopefully not, but we will see here. Okay, backing on out of this. Let's get away from that. This article really quick and updated regarding data recovery and repairs at Stanford following the flooding that caused the damage to the system that serves the data and imagery, courtesy of the Solar Dynamics. Well, click here for the latest details. Probably not until the first of the year. You can come over here and click there and find out. I want to get into this really quick. Commercial pilots and longtime solar ham viewer Matt Milenick. All right, here's his photos here. We covered that last night or the other night. There's some photos of auroras right now. What I want to do now is come on over here to spaceweather.com. Bear with me for a second as we open that up. Okay. Now, chance of flares this weekend. The sun is crackling with M-class solar flares, and there were 5 of them yesterday, none stronger than M2, but this kind of low-level M-class flaring keeps Earth's upper atmosphere in an enhanced state of ionization without actually causing a major space weather event. Did you capture that? Did you guys hear what they just said? I'm going to read it again here, because this is important information that we talk about here a lot at this channel. Earth's upper atmosphere is an enhanced state of ionization without actually causing a major space weather event. So NOAA forecasters say that there is a 50% chance of more M flares during the next 24 hours. Earth's upper atmosphere is in an enhanced state of ionization. Okay, so super flares in the sun-like stars. Now we have to worry about super flares. A new study published by Yesterday in Science concluded that sun-like stars in the Milky Way produce super flares approximately once every 100 years. So super flares are solar flares that are more than 50 times stronger than the Carrington event. Now, if one hit Earth, it could bring down power grids, disable satellites, and more. Okay, you can come over here and finish reading the and more. All right, so we're talking X flares on a level would be more like a Z flare. Skip Y and go right to the Z factor, okay? So 50 times stronger than the Carrington event are possible and would be, if we encountered one of them big objects, you know. All right, so let's move on to the Schumann and take a little peek at your Schumann resonance today. Ta-da! Now, ever since this event right here, we had a good pressure buildup. We were grinding pretty good. There was a good release right there. Okay. And then since then, we've gone to good continuity. Little spits and sputters, but nothing like the roller coaster ride. Okay, so everything's kind of smoothed out and gotten a little tranquil for a while. That means pressure down below at the core level has relieved, and the core and the outer core, or what I like to call the shell, depends on how thick it is, but that really doesn't matter. It's the fact that they exist. So the outer core and the shell are no longer really grinding. They're free spinning again, so we're getting a pretty good strong magnetic field again. And we have some decent continuity here. A few little stripes, but nothing strong and white like this. So we've had a pressure release down below, and you guys probably felt a little relief today or in the last 24 hours, little plus or whatever of this tension, pressure, and well, overall just strengthen the magnetic field. Okay. Now let's come on over to the null school and let's get schooled in the null, shall we? Now something I want to show you here are intertropical convergence zone right here, this blue line where wind from the southern hemisphere meets wind from the northern hemisphere. This convergence zone is still kind of shifted north. Okay, here it should be more down here by the equator. So it doesn't mean the planet is shifted, but it does mean that the convergence zone has shifted due to like heat anomalies structures that are on the ocean floor. All right, so we're gonna try to dial this in and get you a little bit better. There we go. All right, so there's your intertropical convergence zone, still shifted a little north there. Now what I want to do is back on out of there and come up to storm levels where our storm heights are and look around for vortexes. Well, look at this big old vortex storm moving into the Pacific Northwest, bringing its the atmospheric river towards this region again, Northern California up into Oregon and Washington again. We have another good, fairly decent structure right there. And then look at this one right out here. This is a really powerful storm right there. Okay, so we're just kind of looking around. See the face smiling at you? Kind of looks like Sid, the sloth character or whatever. Who knows? All right. Moving over to this side, one big long storm front. Not too much vortex activity. Really there is one here, but it's not strong. Okay, down here. Look at this thing. Woohoo! We got a typhoon right here, cyclone growing right in between Madagascar and Africa. And when we pull up the thermals, we'll see what's going on there. Okay, so there's your weather kind of structures. Let's do our sandstorm. Take off the wind for a moment. All right. You guys are hanging tough. You're doing pretty good here. All right, we get some of this. Computer doesn't like camera doesn't like this color too well, so just bear with me. As you can see, we have a good strong sand plume blowing out into the Atlantic. Hurricane season's pretty much done, but this is hampering that kind of production out there in the Atlantic. The sand hampers this thunderstorm height. Now, as we come over here, you can see very intense plume over here in the Middle East. A big storm up here has drawn a lot of this sand away from this, clear up to, okay, I kid you not. There's a sandstorm going to hit northern Siberia. Yeah. Crazy. It is just crazy. Look at that thing. Oh my, that is just crazy. Wow. All right, so there's your sandstorm report. Didn't expect that. All right, now let's get over on to our SO2 report. Now, SO2, not CO2. We're talking sulfur dioxide, not carbon dioxide. This is basically vaporized magma that is coming out through the perforations in the crust. Magma being very thick and viscous and doesn't want to come out through the pores as easily as gas does. So this gas comes out of any little crack, any little seam it can find, any way it can make its way to the surface without path of least resistance, right? Let me try to do this a little bit. All right, there we go. Now, as we come in for a touchdown, you can see country's still kind of divided here. We got porous crust on this side. It's very spongy-like, has a lot of seams and pores, and it bleeds out SO2. Meanwhile, this half of the country's more thick granite, mountainous type region, so any kind of perforations are more volcanic in nature. There you go. Last time we had some fire activity last night, and that was about the only thing I was going to report on were the fires. But as I look now, we are on. Okay. Yeah, no fire activity right now. So there was here just this new plume that opened up south of Tahoe here. There was a small fire in that region I saw on the map yesterday. And we could go take a peek at that, but it's already out, kind of, so. But what I wanted to do is look around. You can see all your plumes. There's a lot of concentrated ones right here. SO2 coming out of like, well, that might be Mount Shasta. We'll see here. Okay, backing out. Let me take these fires off because the rest of the planet uses them for heating and cooking and stuff still, so. Mexico, Cuba, still bleeding out. You can see all of these little islands right along this island. Whoops, come here. This island chain, every single one of them is spewing SO2. So a lot of different perforations in the crust, that relieve pressure down below via, SO2 emissions and volcanoes and earthquakes as well. So, I did have a good line up there, but let's try this maybe. Oh, I hate the wavy line. In fact, all right, moving on. Going down through South America, you can see this whole coastline lit up. All right, these are all individual sites. Down through here is a little stronger emissions, producing a SO2 plume that blows out into the Pacific there. All right, so there's your SO2. Note there's still a lot of emissions going on this side of South America as well. So moving on, here we are at Hawaii, the hub of the Pacific Rim. If the Pacific Rim were like a bicycle rim, well, in the middle is a hub, and you got to have pressure relieved in the middle there. So why is that not going to stand? Hang on. Get back up there. Sorry about that. I hate my little tripod broke, so we're stuck with the new stand. There we go. It's a little better. Emissions out of Hawaii, still out of Oahu. It's better to have them out of SO2 out of there than a volcanic blast. Okay, so then we're going to come on over to this part of the world and back up for their time zone. Sorry about dropping you guys there. This little stand is about all I could get. All right. Here's the big bruise on the face of the planet. China, looking like a big bruise on the face of the planet there with a lot of SO2 emissions coming out of this region. Okay, a lot of perforations, even fissures. Okay, we also look at Taiwan here. So much coming off of off of China that it's kind of nullifying what emissions are coming out of Taiwan there now. A lot coming out of the Korea Peninsula. Look at this huge scar up there above it. So Japan, natural volcano island. Here's the Kamchatka Peninsula, and then way up here, a lot of SO2 emissions from them as well. As we kind of pan on down to, well, you see India following suit of China there, it darkening in. A lot of this gas pushes up against the Himalayas, can't make it over, so it gets concentrated in that area. Then we have the Middle East that is all kinds of SO2 and methane emissions. Now, I was looking around for a good satellite map of methane emissions so we can start adding that into a report as well. But until I find a good, reliable source, a lot of these are all SO2, okay? This gas comes out very hot, but methane is a flammable gas and it's superheated down below. And when it comes up to the ground at 3,000 degrees or whatever, it's already at the temperature of flammability. All it needs is oxygen. So as soon as it breaks the surface, it hits the oxygen, and now we have SO2 as well as methane emissions that are flaming pits that the methane is. Flaming pits in the sand that just open up and fire comes out. Maybe we put the fires on in that region, huh? Not a true reading, but these yellow ones right here, possibly. These ones right there in that little, because this is water out here. But these sites right there could possibly be some of the methane emission sites that are burning. Possibly, I'm not saying they are, but now let's get out of there. Okay, SO2, basically vaporized magma bleeding out all over the planet. Now, a few years back, like 7 years ago when all this started, I think it was BP Earthwatch noticed 4 little dots over here on the Pacific, on the Sierra Nevadas, and everybody freaked out and took notice. Well, here we are now, 7 years later, with the whole planet bleeding out, and not many people taking notice anymore. But you guys do. It's important that you understand what's going on here. And this is a good indicator of, our pressure buildups, our release spots, all that great stuff. So it's important to kind of keep track and tabs on our SO2 emissions, because some of these spots, like up here in Canada, when they get intense, they can spark fires. Now, let's move on to our ocean report. Everybody take a deep breath and exhale. All right, here we go. Been a couple of days since we've been over here in this area looking around. Okay, now, here's your Juan de Fuca coming out here, going up. All right, we had a lot of cold water inundation, but that seems to be subsiding, and we're starting to see more hot water in this region. And this hot water with cold water right next to it is causing rotation in that area. Okay, we also see this little plume that's going into the Northern California region here. Try to get better color. All right, so that Northern California region plume right there still causing pressure around the south side of the Juan de Fuca there. Okay, also this plume down here, pretty intense, but this finger that had reached up into Southern California, you could see this like the old scar of where the pressure reached up to is faded now. So a lot of this pressure and temperature out here is faded. So magnitudes will come back down in this region. Earthquake activity will subside. There still might be some rumblings up here at this end, and you can see why. All right. Now, as we pull back, you can see these are all vents on the ocean floor, either venting hot water, steam, SO2, whatever, or magma. But whatever it is, it's heating the water, causing columns of hot water to rise up to the surface and then blossom at the surface. These are all blossom heads of your venting, volcanic venting on the ocean floor. Okay. I'd like to come in over here really quick, check on this area, Taiwan. This is a fulcrum point on the plate boundary system. So we do have a hot patch right here, which means there's some kind of magma or something coming out. There's pressure coming out right here, which is relieving the fulcrum point. So we've seen a reduction in quake activity at the fulcrum point here because we have a new path of least resistance. Capiche? I want to come down here to Java. Now, this whole region is starting to turn blue because of a lot of the volcanic activity in here, earthquake activity in here, relieving pressure, and cold water inundation allowed to come in. Here, you can start to see Java's got a little patch of cold water trying to break in there. All right. Meanwhile, we're looking around. Here's some patches on the ocean floor out there that are going on. Okay. Just kind of look around now. Whoa, this has definitely changed. We got stuff on the backside of New Zealand now, and the volcano here just went off at White Island. So, and you can see why the volcano went off there. We have an increase in pressure in this region right here. A lot of sites venting on the ocean floor. Yeah, the elite thought that might be a safe place. Now look at this. This is a new spot. You know, we have this one up here in the Pacific. It was one big spot. It's kind of fading into a bunch of little ones. Look down here now. This is turning into like the main relief point. Alrighty, there's your La Nina pattern right there trying to set up, but we have this hot spot. Two little spots have opened up out here, creating hot spots that have disrupted some of this structure. These little wave type structures that form in the La Nina pattern have been disrupted because of volcanic activity on the ocean floor. You can see along the coast here. Okay, this is warm, moist water, or warm, moist air that comes off this warmer water. So we're still getting this southern fetch, this feed of moist, warm air that comes up from this region up into the country. It collides with cold air, and we get severe weather. All right, enough jabbering. Let's put the winds on, shall we? And you can see your correlating air patterns with your heat structures on the ocean floor. Hot next to cold, hot air rising, cold air rushing in to replace it. Then when hot air finally cools, it sinks back down into the cooler region. So our conveyor belt structure is being formed by thermal patterns on the ocean floor. That strong storm that was brewing out here. Does it look like there might be some kind of thermal activity that's helping induce that? All right. There's that one. Oh, we want to take a peek at this one over here between. Okay, hot air rising, cold air coming in. There we go. Crazy, crazy days. Weather's being controlled by volcanic activity under the water, and then an earthquake can change things. It could, cause a new opening, or it could cause pressure to change in the area and change the weather patterns. So we're living in a time when an earthquake can affect the weather. Does that sound crazy or what? Well, I'm still crazy about you. All right, let's get her done. We'll take the wind off and leave that there while we come over and open up a earthquake report now. Yeah. USBGS. Okay. Satellite for your viewing pleasure. Alrighty, shall we? Now, a lot of deep quake activity starts here in Fiji. We go in. We had a deep quake 5 here yesterday. So a little uptick in magnitude right there in that region yesterday. Now today we're seeing 4.3 down at 626. That's really deep. Okay, so mid-range 4 activity down really deep. This island emits SO2 relief valve. But look down here now. We got all that heat and pressure that was building. It matches this structure right here. See this white structure? Watch this. New Zealand, come back here. There you are. Let me get it right like that. Gee, wonder what's going on out there. Wonder why they had an earthquake right there. 4.7 down at 83. Okay, there's your energy right there because of the pressure down below. Pretty cool how that structure actually matches the heat signature coming off right here. Right there. Okay. Watch out, you might have a new seamount open up on the ocean floor. Well, that's what's going on. This little seamounts are opening up on this type structure out here. So, do you think? Sure looks like it, doesn't it? Okay, now as we go moving on around the world here, first let's take care of the smaller stuff. Deep quake region, 4.5165. 4.4144, 4.837. No earthquakes in this whole region because of volcano activity, pressure being relieved at that island. Up here we have our 4.7 down at 64, volcanic structure. And way over here by the Black Sea, we have, Aegean Sea, 4.7 at the surface, scrubbing energy at the surface right there. There was a couple quakes here. That's a 4.9 at the surface. You know what we do with those. Scrubbing energy at the surface, a mid-range 4 and a 5. Okay, back over to the side of the planet here. We did all through there? Yep, we did. Okay. Sorry, take the long way sometimes. All right. Cocos Plate, 4.7 down at 29. Magnitude checks in this region, 3.7, 3.5. That's normal, the new normal. 4.9 down at 95 with another 4.7 right next to it. And then our big quake for the day was a 6.4 down at 110. Now, let's come over. Oh, well, that's where we see a lot of SO2 emissions right along this region right here. So it's keeping this magnitude down. This is the strongest quake we've seen in this region in a minute because 6.4 down at 110. And that kind of SO2 emissions, this could have been way bigger and way worse than a 6.4. If we hadn't had all those SO2 emissions in that area. Imagine if you plugged up all that SO2 emissions that was in that area. Let me just really quick switch back. I think you guys need no explanation, but we're doing it anyways. See how dense all this SO2 was? If you plugged up all of that for the last 2 years, do you think this would have been a 6.4? Nah, it would have been way bigger. Okay, there's Layat. Also down here, South Sandwich Islands had a 5.3 relieving energy at the surface there. Now, let me get all magnitude, and we'll do America. Okay, not much quake activity around the Kamchatka because of all the volcanoes relieving pressure in that region as we come in. Our first decent is a 3.0 here, 3.7 really right here, and a 3 there. So little mid-range 3 to 3 activity under that part. Coming over, down, and around. Up here, really small, but little activity along these little mountain chains here. What I'm looking for is quakes at volcanic sites, like here at Mount Rainier. It's not much. They're small, but they're an indicator of pressure down below of earthquake on the flank of a volcano like this is an indicator of pressure down below trying to come out through this vent, this perforation in the crust. But the lava tube, the pathway is plugged because it's all cooled and plugged. So any kind of pressure that wants to come out there can't, and just rattles the place and relieves pressure in small little earthquakes. And a bunch of little ones like that is good. It relieves pressure instead of one bigger one. Meanwhile, 2.1 here down at 40. Woo. I think the mothership just landed outside my house here. 1.5 there. Okay, just a little activity through that region. A gust of wind just shook our house pretty good. All right, here we go. This region right here, this is a new little site that's having a few quakes. Stanley, Idaho. Well, they have quakes here every once in a while, but new little activity, relieving pressure in that region at a mid-range 2. That's good. Now, Juan de Fuca, our fulcrum point, where we come in here, you can see a lot of this activity still here going on because we still have that plume of pressure underneath there. 2.9, 2.5, there's a 3. Okay, so all of these are right close to the surface, relieving pressure at this point because of the big bulge of heat and pressure that's coming up through that region. Also, what are these? Shingleton, California. All right, nothing in between there. The geysers quaking out here, small quakes. Sorry, we're getting pretty windy here, so it does affect our service sometimes. All right, so relieves pressure as it comes in through this region, keeping magnitudes down in the Bay Area. We also saw that the pressure in this area was still kind of there, so it had retreated a little bit, so we're seeing them backing off of quakes and magnitude there. Let's come on over to this region here. This is the Yarrington event, all right, and it's still having some quakes forming days after our event. Biggest one, a 3.3, right close to the surface there. 7.6. Some of these I just want to see the depth because a lot of these were really shallow, which it tells me when you see 1.2 that magma could be getting close to the surface here, quaking, causing this quaking at really shallow depths. So just kind of keep an eye on that for a while. We don't need that one. All right, let's move on down. You can see magnitudes are down and activity down in the Southern California region. Latest activity is 1.3. Okay, so good. Over here, man-made perforations in the crust. We all understand, and we're magnitude check 2.2. Latest is a 2.2 as well. A little bit down here in southern Texas, 2.9, 2.5. Wow. So New Madrid, really quiet. Creighton, quiet. Okay, we've seen a reduction in pressure, so we're seeing a little reduction in earthquake activity overall. Our biggest quake here being a 6.4 or so. And that'll kind of hamper stuff in that region for a while, probably. Not every time, but usually. All right, so there's your quake report. I think I covered them all. Yep, all the important ones. All right, let's move on and do a volcano report here because, well, this pressure down below's got to get out one way or the other, and earthquakes and volcanoes is how it does it. So if you look up above there, what? 38 and 34. We are at 72. So we're up 2 more, all right? We're just gaining volcanoes every day, aren't we? All right, so 72 volcanoes. Now, back 7 years ago when all this started happening to me, back then we only had 1 volcano. If I'd have told you back then that in 7 years from now we would have 72 volcanoes, you would say you're crazy. Well, here we are 7 years later and 72 volcanoes, and I am still crazy about you. All right, let's do it. My little stick. Some people like it. Some probably, maybe later, will like it. All right, White Island volcano here in down in New Zealand, coming to life. All right, so another one added to the at unrest active. Okay, so Ibu, here we go. IBU, 7,000 feet. Okay, Ibu. Semaru, 15,000. Okay, usually it pumps 14. It beat its own record at 15. So now it's matching its record, the maximum pressure coming out, 15,000 foot blast. Every day out of Semaru, man. That place is just going off. All right. White Island, here we go. Added to the list. 2,000 foot blast. All right. A plume came out that rose to estimated 2,000 feet. So, an eruption at White Island. New volcano currently erupting. Popocatépetl, Santa Aguido 13,000, Fuego 14,000, Reventador probably around the 14s. And that was just in the last few minutes. Okay, here's Friday the 13th. Oh, yeah, by the way, happy Friday the 13th, which was today, but is now yesterday because, well, time flies at this channel, I'm telling you. There's your map of insanity. Just craziness. All active. Add another one over here by New Zealand here. All right, now don't forget we got active volcanoes down in Antarctica as well. So basically every place on the planet. Okay, moving on. Oh, wow. That was a big gust. I think my house almost fell. Here we go with the new volcano, a seamount that has busted up through the water, okay? It used to be a heat plume in the water on our sea surface temperature anomaly map, and it's exceeded the water now, and it's now its own little volcanic island. New lava continues to expand the island. Okay, Suenosi-jima blew up today too. What was that one at? 6,000 feet. Okay, Ibu 7,000, Luatobi 8,000. Semaru 14,000, Dukono 7,000. The home reef, Tonga Islands, that's the one I just showed you. This new little volcano, new little reef. You can come over and read all about it. Popocatépetl 19,000, Santa Guido 14,000. Those are some tall blasts. Fuego 14,000. I want you to think every time 19,000, Nevada del Ruiz. Every time these are pumping more ash into the air. I mean, we're way overboard from the last 2 years, and now every day just more and more and more, and the list keeps growing. The heights keep getting higher. Songay 19 again, Reventador 15. This list right here, I know it's old hat, but this is just insanity. This, do not get desensitized by this list. I should stop showing it for a couple of days and then show it to you again, because this really kind of puts it all in perspective as to what's going on. And where's the media on this? Well, imagine if they reported this kind of news to the world. Well, maybe some people would pull head out of their... Yeah, that's a lot of volcanoes currently erupting. All right, and these ones are active. Okay, let me get on into the tidbits here. Our tropical tidbits. You guys ready for a tidbit? Or you want to see some models? Forecast models, that is. Okay, all that ash, all that moisture in the air produces a lot more rain, higher winds, just the whole gambit of weather. Larger hail, higher winds, stronger thunderstorms, stronger winter storms as well. So here we go. Current conditions with this storm coming on shore right now. I'm telling you, the winds here at my house just shook the walls like an earthquake. So it's getting windy in the west here. Current conditions, severe weather in Northern California on the coastline as well. Heavy rain, snow up in here. Okay, so this is a strong storm coming in here. This is the current conditions as we go into the morning of the 14th. Look at this. Moisture has come up and slid underneath this cool air here. All right, or went over the top of the air. The cool air slid underneath this warm, moist air, and now you're getting icing right there. So, wow. From the morning time through the noontime hours through Iowa, Minnesota, all that area right there, you're going to have an icing event. And then here in California, the severe weather is kind of sliding down. That's the noontime tomorrow. Convection or afternoon tomorrow, the nighttime, morning of the 15th, if we make it, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 16th, noon, convection, nighttime. Back up just a set right here. You see how this is trying to get that comma shape? It does eventually, but right here as it's starting to congeal and form and get this comma shape, you see your QLCS pop up right there during the noontime. This will be 12 to 1 o'clock afternoon area on the 16th right there. So convection, nighttime, morning of the 17th, a little bit possibility there. Noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 18th, noon, convection, nighttime. 19, noon, convection, nighttime. 20, noon, convection, nighttime. 21, noon, convection, nighttime. 22, convection, nighttime. 23, noon, convection, nighttime. Christmas Eve, the 24th, noon, convection, nighttime. Christmas Day, noon, convection, nighttime. Day after Christmas, noon, convection, nighttime. 27, noon, convection, nighttime. 28, noon, convection, nighttime. Ooh, look at that thing. All right, that's way out at the end. All right, but this is another example right here of what we got to watch out for. These cold blasts coming down, connecting with that warm, moist air that's still coming up from the Gulf here, because you got openings here in the Gulf creating hot water. That hot water is evaporating into the air, creating more moisture. So you're getting moist, warm air coming off this region. It's getting blown up into here, cold air diving down. So we're going to see bouts of severe weather as we go through this winter because of this setup that we have. All right, so just let that sit there for a second. Take a sip of this. And then we'll get into our spiritual report here. All right, let me knock out some of these instruments really quick here. Really quick, this incident on the 11th here. Let's try and capture this really quick. Back up just a little bit there. Okay. Zoom in just a tad bit. All right, there's a face right there. When we tint it out, there's an eye. There's another face on the other side over here. I think it was the frame before this. Right there's the good one, right? Because it has that other face on the other side right there. Okay, that's a real event, spiritual event. Oh, boy. And this would be due to hit Earth tomorrow if it's coming in our direction. And I don't see why not. Let me go ahead and play that a little slower so you can see the face evolve. And then there's a little dog face back behind it right there. All right, so spiritual event happening on the sun 3 days before our 14th event that was talked about by Mike. Okay, so let me see this face right there. Let me just pause it one more time for our spiritual report here. Okay. Boom. There we go. Oh, darken it this way. There we go. Now we can kind of zoom in on it a little bit better. All right. So there's this face, this other little face hanging out over here, whatever, captured on the sun on the 11th. Anything traveling this direction would take 3 days to get here. So this face and this event, or this spiritual event or entity, might be arriving tomorrow. Okay, let me get rid of that too. And that too. All right, so we got that one. Now let me pull up some other stuff. And what could possibly happen tomorrow? I'm not sure. But let me just show you an event that has already happened. And with what's going on in the clouds these days, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw an event similar to this. So let me just go ahead and start pulling stuff up here really quick. Bear with me here. Start over here on my channel. Yeah, everybody's showing you how to build shelters and stuff now, popping up all over the place. Oh, this one we can type in. Okay, so where is that video? There it is. Okay, now I've showed you this video before. This was video taken a couple years back, okay? What they were videoing was the sound in the sky. They did not see this giant face in the clouds here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this really quick. This one has the sped up enhanced in it. So I'm going to play this. And what I'm going to try to do is capture the sound without blowing out your ears. And you'll hear, well, what was talked about in the Bible. Thunderings, noises, voices from the sky. Let me just get it. All right, here we go. On the other, here's the eyes up here. I'm just going to start playing the video. And this was in a video about the sound in the sky. So I want you to listen to the sound.
Как один облак, видите?
Okay, there's the sounds that are coming from the sky that we've talked about. All right, these are more harmonic. This is different. Okay, you can see the face, probably see the crown a little bit there too. Now, this is an event that's already happened before, all right, that was captured. People thought they were capturing the sound, but little did they know the big face there too. And I know that this event is real, because I've seen this face over my house plenty of times, okay? So this is a real event, and if something were to happen tomorrow, it could go along the lines of this, possibly. All right, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but this is something that has happened, so it's not far out. It's not too far-fetched that something like this could happen, say, over some capital cities or some major cities or whatever that might, well, shock and scare some people, right? But not here at this channel. You will be ready in case something like this happens again. All right. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but here's an incident that did happen. It's a real event, okay? I see this stuff happen around me all the time, so I can trust me. This is real, okay? I recognize this face. So that could possibly be something that might be happening tomorrow, all right? And if it does, don't get too freaked out. You guys have a foundation on which to stand, right? So, coming off the sun on the 11th, really wanted to capture this eye on this side over here. Let's see if we can go into the other. Because this one is a white pupil and this one's black. White and white right there. Pupil there and the black. So it's a real eye. There we go. Now you can see the pupil in the eye there. And there's this face over here looking at it. All right, so we could possibly see something along these lines pop off somewhere around the world and, maybe catch some people off guard or, put them in their place. Who knows? But when I saw that face coming off the sun, it just kind of what would happen, if something like this were to occur again. It might rattle the world a little bit. Your activity on the coasts that we're seeing, these so-called drones or whatever, what if they're from the divine realm? What if they're like an escort for the event? Because this took place on the 11th, that would take 3 days to get here. 11 and 3 is 14. Mike talked about a big spiritual event happening on the 14th. Imagine if something like this took place over a couple of capital cities or whatever and captured the attention of the world in the news. That might be something. All right, now moving on with our spiritual report here. I got to get some other stuff pulled up for you here. Okay, so you've already witnessed, that's a real event. So if something like that happens, you won't be rattled. You'll be going, hallelujah. Sound crazy, but in a world of lies, the truth sounds crazy. That's why it's been so hard for me to do this, because everybody thinks it's crazy. And I'm like, no, it's the truth. Okay. I've endured some insane stuff, and nobody would give me 5 minutes of their time to come over and look, just to look, just one little glimpse at what I discovered. It's like, oh, you're seeing faces in the clouds, huh? That's called pareidolia, Brian. Doc, it's a little different when it's Jesus's face with a crown on Easter in the clouds. It's pareidolia. Well, you better pray that this isn't pareidolia. And thankfully it's not. This is the real deal. This right here is your foundation. That's why I show it every night. These pictures are the real deal. They cost me dearly. It was very painful. Thought I was going to have a heart attack and pass out because I was holding my arms up for so long. So, very important that you guys understand. It talks in the Bible. Look in the clouds. You'll see signs. You'll see them coming in the clouds. So it's okay to look into the clouds for signs. And when you see one, it's not pareidolia, especially when the thing growls at you and spits lightning. Okay? And this was in a video about... I think that's God there trying to get your attention. Hey, he's here. Gee, you think he might be here? All right, let's move on. So we got this. We can take that one down. No, let's replace that one with something to read to here. Okay, go look this up. I put the link in my thing before. I'll put it up there again for that video if you want. It's a real video. And now there's other noises coming out of that region. In fact, you know what? Let's go. Where is it? Strange sounds again. Slovakia. Yeah, Slovakia of all countries. So this event is right here. Strange or scary sounds in the sky. Slovakia. All right, there's that video, and you have to double the uh, the play rate on it because this is happening in slow motion. And if you want to hear that growling, you got to double the play rate of it because it's happening in a different dimension. Where are some of these other things? Where did it go? Where's that one coming out of Slovakia? Because it's more like a dragon type sound, and you can clearly hear a dragon growling in the sky. Oh, they pulled it down. Used to be right on top. No, that's not it. All right, well, we'll come back to it later. Let's just put this back on another image for reading here. All right, you guys are hanging tough. Sorry about the bouncing around. I wanted to show you another one of those, but come on down. Have a seat. Oh, wait, your ticket says you are in the front row. So we're going to have to get you up front and center in the front row because only the best for my guest. At least the best I can perform now. All right, really quick.
Forming in the clouds, what looked like a face over here. And I'm going to start zooming in on this face.
That's probably good. We can see his heart at least right there. So there's that image. Oh, pull back a tad bit right there. It's good.
Zooming.
There we go. All right, so real event again here. These faces in the clouds that follow me everywhere I go. I showed you a bunch of them. I could show you another one, but we're just kind of getting to this part right now. So let me go ahead. You can see Jesus pulling open his shirt there.
In on this.
There we go. Pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. These waves radiating out, creating these spaces in the clouds. All right. Whatever's going on in the air, out on the coasts, whether it's man-made or from a different group, we'll say, it's still part of God. No matter what, it is still part of God. It's still part of the story. All right. So no matter what it is, it still does not change this. Okay. So if they tell you it's drones, well, that's still part of man. It's still part of this. Okay. So they are divine craft. Okay. They're probably a little escort party for the grand entrance, possibly this tomorrow. So hopefully we don't see a big old face in the sky growling at people. Or it might be growling at some people, the bad ones, but not the good ones. You guys are free of worry for that. Okay, let me get that centered there. That's probably good enough. All right, good. Let's get the reading going, shall we? A lot of disturbing stuff going on. Can be very taxing. Everything that's going on in your families and your life can be taxing as well. So it's important that you take a break from all of that and step aside and be in my presence for a minute and find some peace, okay? Take a deep breath. Hold it for a few seconds and exhale nice and slow. Get in a comfortable position. Undo your belts, whatever. Relax your jaw. Shake out the tension in your neck. Take another deep breath and refresh yourself in the peace of my presence. This peace can be your portion at all times and in all circumstances. So learn to hide in the secret of my presence, even as you carry out your duties in the world. I am both with you and within you. I go before you. I've been through this, I've experienced it. So now I know what you're about to experience. So I give you these tools because I go before you to open up the way. And I also walk alongside you right here at this show. So there can never be another companion as devoted as I am. And because I am your constant companion, there should be a lightness to your step that's observable to others. When you're salvaging your day, there should be a lightness to your step that's observable to others. They're like, whoa, I'm freaking out and you're whistling a tune. What's going on here? That's not normal. You should be freaking out like the rest of us. Did you see that big face in the sky scaring everybody? And you're like, nope, doesn't faze me. I have a constant companion. Gives me a lightness to my step that will be observable to others when stuff goes down. So do not be weighed down with the problems and unresolved issues, for I am your burden bearer. And in the world you have trials and distress, but don't let them get you down. I have conquered the world and deprived it of power to harm you. So in me, you have confident peace. Don't you? You guys feel that confident peace at this part of the show, don't you? Mm-hmm. And I have conquered the world, and these tools that I give you enable you to conquer the world. The world's coming at you sideways, ready to, doing push-ups to kick your butt. While you're over there doing spiritual push-ups, salvaging days, and you are conquering the world. One salvage at a time. You overcame the situation. You conquered it. That was the world coming at you. You overcame it and you conquered it. So these tools help you conquer the world because I went before you and conquered the world. Now you may conquer the world through me. I've deprived it of the power to harm you. So in me, you can have confident peace. Okay? Again, try this habit. Try saying, I trust you, Jesus, in response to whatever happens to you. And if there is time to think about who I am in all my power and glory, ponder also the depth and breadth of my love for you. The depth and breadth of my love for you. Ponder that, okay? When you do that, this simple practice will help you see me in every situation, acknowledging my sovereign control over the universe. When you view events from this perspective, through the light of my universal presence, fear loses its grip on you. Drones, whatever, UFOs, my universal presence. Okay? Throughout, when you got to view things through the light of my universal presence, even those drones, the fear of them loses its grip on you. Even the volcanoes, the fear of earthquakes loses its grip on you. The event that I showed you in the clouds and this face showing up maybe possibly on the 14th should not rattle you. Okay? That's the light of my universal presence, and fear loses its grip on you. Okay? Adverse circumstances become growth opportunities when you affirm your trust in me no matter what. So your adverse circumstances have now become growth opportunities because you affirmed your trust in me no matter what. You receive these blessings gratefully, realizing that they flow directly from my hand of grace. So your continual assertion of trusting me will strengthen our relationship and keep you close to me. It strengthens our relationship and keeps you closer to me. Okay? What else here? Now, here we go. You can achieve this glorious life through living in deep dependence on me. People usually associate victory with success, not falling or stumbling, or not making mistakes. But those who are successful in their own strength tend to go their own way, forgetting about me. It is through problems and failure, weakness and neediness that you learn to rely on me. Your true dependence is not simply asking me to bless what you have decided to do. It is coming to me with an open mind and heart, inviting me to plant my desires within you. I may infuse within you a dream that seems far beyond your reach. You know that in yourself you cannot achieve this goal. Thus begins your journey of profound reliance on me. In the future, there will be goals that you cannot achieve. Thus begins your journey of your profound reliance on me. It is a faith walk, which is taken one step at a time, one day at a time, leaning on me as much as you need. Now, this is not a path of continual success, but of multiple failures. Yes, this is not a path of continual success, but a path of multiple failures. That's why it's so hard. Okay? And you know that this cannot be achieved by yourself. And that's what begins this journey of reliance on me. This path of continual success is not, it's of multiple failures. So each failure is followed by a growth spurt, nourished by increased reliance on me. So enjoy the blessedness of a victorious life through deepening your dependence on me. That's where you're getting victory, when you and I team up together. When you and Jesus team up together is when you have victory. Okay? It's not continual success, but a path of multiple failures. And there is no failure. It's only a opportunity to grow, right? Okay, so closing with this, I am able to do far more and far beyond all that you ask or imagine. So come to me with positive expectations, knowing that there is no limit to what I can accomplish. Ask my spirit to control your mind so that you can think great thoughts of me. Do not be discouraged by the fact that many of your prayers are yet unanswered. Time is a trainer teaching you to wait on me, to trust me in the dark. The more extreme your circumstances, the more likely you are to see my power and glory at work in the situation. So instead of letting difficulties draw you into worrying, try to view them as setting the scene for my glorious intervention. Your difficulties, view them as setting the scene for my glorious intervention. Your difficulties, every time there's a difficulty, it's an opportunity for a glorious intervention. So keep your eyes and your mind wide open to all that I am doing in your life. That I am doing in your life. Really, it's really taking effect in your life for those who practice these disciplines. When you practice a discipline, makes you a disciple by default. Practicing discipline equals disciple. So you're practicing these disciplines and you're finding success. You're salvaging your day. You're taking a moment to regain composure. Jesus, I trust you. God, grant me the serenity to accept the conditions I cannot change, the people I cannot change. You find that peace, and then you move on into the rest of your day, into the next part. And when you salvage that day, you get a glory. And that's like kind of what this picture is. Imagine your face here with a crown, because you overcame the world. You overcame your circumstances and you moved on. You stayed positive, and then something else came and took out your knees, but you got back up and you overcame it. And you got another glory. And in your tribulation, while you are going through your own personal tribulation, you are going from glory to glory to glory in your tribulation, aren't you? And you're getting victory. You guys, they seem small at first, but once you get evidence of that victory, it just blossoms from there, and you guys are you're going for it. You're doing it to it. Okay? And that's the kind of attitude you got to have with this. It's not just stick your toe in the water and test the water. Dive in. Go for it. Do it to it. Get it done. And then you will find a peace that transcends all your circumstances. Your mistakes all of a sudden become opportunities for growth. The path of constant success is really a path of multiple mistakes and difficulties. So if you're having multiple mistakes and difficulties, you're on the path. Okay? It's like a trial. You're overcoming each one day by day, and that's giving you confidence and strength and hope. Real hope. Okay? That's what this brings. Confidence, strength, hope, peace that transcends your circumstances. Okay? And no matter what tomorrow brings, okay, whether it's some spiritual event or even worse, man-made event, it's not going to change your victory. You have found me. Okay, you seek me, you will find me. If you look up in the clouds, you'll see me coming in the clouds. Okay, not on NBC. You won't see me coming on Fox. You won't see me coming on. You'll see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory. Okay, when you see me, you see this image. This is me in the clouds. Okay, when you see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory, it's very fascinating. It's intriguing. You get caught up in it like a good movie, a good book, a good song. You are caught up with me in the clouds. And I can't come over to your house and give you a big old hug right now, but I can meet you in the air of cyberspace, live on YouTube. So I have gone ahead and provided a place that where I am, you may be also here on my live streams, live on YouTube, where we meet in the air so you can be caught up with me in the clouds. That's how this works. That's how this goes. The rapture could happen at any moment. Well, the word rapture is not in the Bible, but that is being caught up can happen at any moment. That's the moment you decide to believe me and trust me. That's the moment you get caught up with me in the clouds. That's when you're raptured. Any moment. That moment depends on you. It's not a set date, a set time. The rapture has been happening ever since this event right here took place, right? So, at any time, you can come over to my channel, even when I'm not live streaming, and look up this video and get caught up with me in the clouds at any moment, couldn't you? So, that's how it works. Not how Hollywood had you believe. They're teaching that a black hole is a tear in the fabric of space-time. No, a black hole is a super dense spheroid bowling ball. Super dense. You cannot do the speed of light through a bowling ball. You can't go through a black hole because it's super dense. See, they had you misled this whole time in different interpretations. Well, pre-rapture, mid-rapture, post-rapture. That there is no rapture. You either choose to get caught up with me in the clouds or you don't. Okay? And most of the people that are sticking around, even in replay, choose to be caught up with me in the clouds, be part of that family where we meet in the air, and where you come over here, I provided this spot. The counselor, I bring peace, I bring joy, I bring strength in this season when you need it. I bring meat in due season when you need it. So, you guys are doing awesome. Remember, baby steps are still giant steps in this process, okay? And if it still hasn't working the way you want it, just keep working it, okay? Don't quit until the miracle happens, and it'll kick in, and all of a sudden you're going to be this spiritual warrior out there bringing the light into other people's lives. You will be that strong foundation for them. They will go, how come you have this inner strength that I don't when things fall apart, right? You're going to be just a natural born leader, know what to do, keep calm. You'll manage to keep calm and still do your salvage work through an emergency and be the one who still has victory at the end. You'll conquer the situation because you have the tools and you've been well versed in practicing. You know what to expect. And every time you salvage the day and you're moving on into the next part of your day with a positive attitude, don't forget a quick thank you, Lord, for helping me salvage that moment. Because a lot of times we realize, okay, cool, did it, victory. I'm moving forward. I'm going on to the next salvage. Whoops! Don't forget to go back and thank for the one that you just overcame. Okay, so when you do that, you realize you overcame something. A little thank you, and then it really blossoms from there and keeps getting better. Okay, that's how this works. I hope you guys. Well, I know most of you are figuring this out and finding out the blessing and have that true strength and that peace. And it's not perfection; it's progress. Okay, perfection's when you add Jesus in the mix. Okay, it's the real deal, and it's really happening. Okay, and that should soothe you that you are indeed a member of a royal family. Okay, the real royal family, not those jokers out of England. Okay, no, you're part of a much more important spiritual royal family that fights to salvage their day. Okay, it's not easy. You gotta fight through it, much like a battle. Okay, so pace yourselves, take breaks, find those opportunities. When you need to, take a moment, regain composure if you have to. The seasons can be stressful, and I know times are tough and money's tough, and times are tight. So just keep going, inch by inch, moment by moment. Try the best you can to improve yourself, your situations, using Jesus as that foundation, as that crutch, as that tool to help you. This is what we do while we wait, okay? As we try to salvage our days, try to salvage our moments. I failed miserably the other day, but whoops, it wasn't a failure. It was an opportunity to make amends, to build a stronger relationship, to learn from it. And actually, when you apologize and make amends, it creates a stronger bond between people. So try that, salvaging relationships, making amends. Even if the other person doesn't respect the amends you made, at least you tried. You reached out and did your spiritual work to keep your side of the street clean, to keep your mind and your conscience in good state so you can sleep at night. Okay? Something comes up, confess your sins. Don't let it stew in your head forever and bother you. You confess your sins, and that way you're free of them. Give them to me. The moment you confess them, it's a glory. You overcame it. And then you confess another one, well, you overcame that. And then you confessed another one, you overcame that. And you just keep going from glory to glory to glory in your tribulation. You guys are kicking ass at this, so keep going. All right, you're doing awesome. I know it's tough, I know it's painful, but you do sometimes see those rewards. And when you do see them, a quick little thank you really opens up the door for even better. Okay, Christmas is coming. Everybody enjoy the season. I found for me, sometimes I get a little shaky or whatever. I put on some Christmas music, the old 50s through the 70s era of classic Christmas music can lighten up your spirits again. Okay, so don't forget the season also is about joy. So as you go through a stressful joy or a stressful day, and take a second to look at the Christmas lights and the decorations and try to take in some of the positivity in there. Okay, that's it for tonight. I love you guys. I miss you guys. Okay. And I will see you soon. I am a man of my word. I will be back. I am already back. That's a one that kind of hard for you to wrap your head around. I am already back. I am already here in the flesh, walking around just like last time. The Word made flesh, dwelling among you. Yeah, I know it's a hard concept, but it was what everybody was hoping for and wishing for. Well, it's actually taken place. It should be a big celebration, right? It should be a big celebration. It's the real thing that was hoped for, wished for. The uh, people throughout the ages died to be, were just dying to be living in this time. And here we are in this time, and here is the real deal. So you have reason to rejoice. Okay? Even though it doesn't seem like it, you do. Your difficulties are opportunities to overcome and rejoice and just keep going. You guys are getting stronger and stronger every day. You prayed for strength. Well, you get adversity. You overcome that. That's what gives you strength. You pray for money, oops, you get a job instead of hitting the lottery. Well, you still got money, and now you're being productive, right? So it works a little bit different than everybody was expecting. But it still works, doesn't it? That's why. All right, I love you all. I miss you all. Gotta go. I will be back. I am already back, and you guys are my family. Enjoy your day. I'll see you soon. Bye.